Showing MC here for Umineko episode 3. Let's just this party started. The boat gave a big shudder. Let's see. Seems we've docked at the harbor. The boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring rope. Mooring. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guess he was a servant for the Ushiromiya head household.
お嬢様、お帰りなさいませ。
I love butlers.
だいぶ遅かったので心配しておりました。
心配ありがとう。ウドの大木が怖がっちゃってよ。それで徐行運転だったってわけ。マジでうぜえぜ。
うるせえ。いつか逆の立場になったら覚えてろ。
At this rate, word will spread to the whole family, and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. I feel like that's pretty likely considering you're the main character. Even without this, everyone would be talking about me because of the 6-year gap, but now I've given them an even juicier topic. Damn it. Why does the Ushiromiya head family have to live on this isolated island? I know, it's so suspicious. Let's see if I can... Hold on, I'm going to see if I can get the text to disappear so I can take the background.
お疲れ様でした。
Okay, got it.
奥様、お手をどうぞ。
ありがとう。お久しぶりね。ゴーダさんもお元気？
ありがとうございます。おかげさまで毎日元気にお勤めをさせていただいております。
バトラ君はゴーダさんとは初対面じゃない？確か6年前はお勤めじゃなかったですよね。
はい。
So they do actually have new people.
ですので、バトラ様とは初めてご挨拶させていただきます。はじめまして、バトラ様。
ああ。俺もタッパには多少の自信があったんだが、でっけえ人だな。
Yeah, he's a lot broader.
紛れもなく初対面だぜ。
There's something about this scene that rubs me the wrong way. I can't place my finger on it. Like, they said that this place is mostly isolated and that new people didn't really come. But here we have a new person already.
こんな大男、あったら絶対忘れないさ。どうも、はじめまして。バトラス。
お待ち申し上げておりました。一昨年から後ろ宮本家にお仕えさせていただいております。使用人のゴーダと申します。
Okay, so he's a newbie, completely.
どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。何かご用命がございましたらいつでもお申し付けください。
ゴーダさん、お久しぶりです。
ジョージ様、ご無沙汰をいたしております。お手をどうぞ。
あんた相変わらず大した接客のプロや。もし職に困ったらいつでもわしに声をかけるやで。いつでも雇ったろ。
これは身に余る光栄です。どうぞお手を、秀吉様。
Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful, in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large side made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impression had led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtless worked at a similar job somewhere before. I wonder how people get on the I'm gonna be a butler pipeline in terms of jobs. Something to consider. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied, and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. You don't hear the word mooring very often in the English language, kind of an older word. It's probably returning to its home port in Nijima. The captain waved his hand in farewell. Maria conscientiously waved her hand back.
なんだかさっきから違和感があると思ったら、あれだな。海猫の声を聞いてないぜ。
Oh, okay, so Seagull is Umineko. Interesting. I'm gonna note that down real quick. Umineko? It's like cat of the sea? I wonder if that's what it is literally. Sometimes Japanese does that.
Umineko?
Yeah.
鳥のか?
If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with their lively nya-nya cries. Okay, yeah, so I'm right. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere else, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. Except for the small part of the island where those of the Ushiromiya head family live, Rokenjima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Supposedly, there was a cliff somewhere that housed a huge seagull colony, so the island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet us made me feel a bit lonely.
どうしたのバトラ君。
ああ、ローザおばさん。いやー、別に。海猫の声が聞こえないんで、なんか寂しいなーって。
あら、そういえばそうね。いっつも賑やかなのに、今日はさっぱりいないわね。
どうして海猫いない？
海猫たちも今日はよそで集まりがあるからかな。
Yeah, I think Umineko's connection to the seagulls is going to be something significant story-wise. I don't think it's just one of those, oh, this just has a random name type series like Bleach, for example.
マリアも海猫見たかったの？
見たかった。
なんだってこうもまるっきりいねえんだ。ジェシカがみんな焼き鳥にして食っちまったんかな。
物騒なこと言うんじゃねえ。
I'm pretty sure a seagull wouldn't taste good.
マリアが勘違いするだろ。ジェシカお姉ちゃんが焼き鳥にした焼き鳥にした。
She is way too impressionable and it scares me.
してないしてない。そんなの私がするわけねえだろ。
そうだそうだ。ジェシカが焼き鳥にしたんだ。皮につくねにレバーにネギマン。
皮にくつねり、レバーにネギマン。
As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Oh. I never guessed she was such a good sport. His relationship with his family members is too goofy. Alright then, from today on, I'll make you my #1 follower. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed. Possibly because she was happy about this little connection we'd made with each other.
違うよ、マリアちゃん。野鳥って天気や気圧の変化に敏感なんだそうだよ。
And that's why everything, it's kind of strange. So this kind of feels like a setup for a horror thing, but how do I put it? The suspense isn't very strong.
今夜あたり天気が崩れそうだしね。末早めに引き上げてるのかもしれないね。
Like everybody's attitude is kind of happy-go-lucky.
焼き鳥じゃない？ジェシカお姉ちゃんが焼き鳥にしたんじゃない？違う違う。私はそんなことしないって。ほら、バトラも嘘だったって認めろよ。
バトラ君、マリアちゃんは素直な子だから、そういう冗談でも真に受けちゃうんだよ。冗談も少し選んだ方がいいよ。
George Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. Well, I mean, what else would he be? That doesn't make sense. There was no choice but to immediately apologize. Yeah, he's pretty much the adult of the group, even considering all the people above 40 here.
マリア、今のは冗談だ。 海猫たちは今日は素でおとなしくしてるってさ。
バトラは嘘？ジョージお兄ちゃんは本当？
Had she actually been tricked, despite all the fun she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all.
ああ、そうだそうだ。ジョージ兄貴が言ったのが本当だ。天気が悪いんで、今日は引き上げたんだろうよ。いなくなったわけじゃないんだぜ。
Well, let's hope not.
ね、おばさん。
そうよ。明日以降天気が良くなったらきっと戻ってきてミャーミャーと声を聞かせてくれるわ。
I feel like they're all gonna get stuck there at least a few extra days. Come on. With this setup.
天気良くなって戻ってくるの待つ。明日まで待つ。天気良くなるまで待つ。
Maria was in a lighter mood and was looking forward to tomorrow, when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, George Aniki was really amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was a brat 6 years ago. Geez, has he always just been the responsible one? Aniki, that's probably your gift.
ジョージ君は小さい子の面倒を見るのがうまいわね。保育士さんでも務められるんじゃない？
なあ、ジョージ兄さんの転職っぽいぜ。私的には社長室でビジネスってよりそっちの方が兄さんのイメージだぜ。
まさか。保育士さんは立派なお仕事だよ。単なる子供好き程度に務まる仕事じゃないね。
That's a good point. You have to deal with a lot of crap.
本当にジョージ君は謙虚ね。でもバトラ君も子供のあやし方が上手よ。さっきはほんの少しの間だけどマリアとっても楽しそうだった。これからも今みたいに遊んであげてね。冗談は選んでだけどね。
Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun.
おいローザ、それにガキどもも何やってんだ。行くぞ。
はいはい、今行きます。
The old bastard was waiting for us to hurry up. He really doesn't like him at all. Yeah, we need to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms.
そ
Pretty
れでは
much,
皆様、
yeah.
お泊まりのゲストハウス
Let's get
の
to
方
the
へ
house,
ご
come
案
on.
内させていただきます。どうぞこちらへ。
Goto-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought us to the rear. Up to the rear. Dang. A serpentine, twisting path led us through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep, but personally, I'd been happier if they'd had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. You can't really do that up a mountain though, bro. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose to put on airs of distance and importance. Before long, we saw garden-style stone steps. From here on, I do have some memories. Go up these and... Oh, here we go. Finally, the house. At the top of the stone steps, we saw a beautiful guest house. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it.
はあ。今年も相変わらず大したもんや。
Yeah. The faded imagery really adds to the ambiance here.
目の保養とはこのことやで。
After climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by
今
one.
年は少し花に元気がないんじゃない？やっぱり夏があまり暑くなかったせいかしら。
そのせいもあるかと思います。去年の先に比べると今年は少々見劣るのが残念です。
There's something about this track that's extra sad. Even so, it was the delightful rose garden. I remember that even 6 years ago, a huge number of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted the people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents who came every year couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago. A power-up, nice. When nostalgia's actually beat, that's a good thing.
自宅にこれだけのバラ園があったらさぞや素敵でしょうに。
よせよ。誰がバラは虫とか病気とか
Realism.
大変なんだぜ。
そうね。キリエ姉さんは毎日バラの手入れをしてて虫がつかないようにしてるそうよ。
え？そうなのかよ。
I had the same exact reaction as he did.
そうなんです。この人の場合はバラの方から虫を求めていっちゃうから、どっちかというとたちの悪い食虫植物ってところね。
ああ、そういう話かよ。たく、ローザ、今日はそういう話は勘弁してくれよ。もうそういうのはすっかり足を洗ったんだぜ。
どうかしら。ルドルフ兄さんは遺伝子的レベルでだらしないですし。
Genetic level.
大丈夫よローザさん。あんまりおいたするバラなら根元からちょんって切っちゃうから。
I don't like this conversation at all. Yes, thank you. Wow. I seem to be having the appropriate reaction the writers want here. Like, immediately afterwards, I'm vindicated. That's cool.
モテる男はいつもリスクと隣り合わせなんや。
Or does the dangerously precede that?
わしも来世じゃもうちょい美形に生まれたいもんやで。
No. Pretty sure your family's cursed to give up their souls because of the
だから秀吉
prosperity.
兄さん、モテてなんかないって。入江も物騒な話なんかやめろい。俺のバラがしおれちまったじゃねえか。
ほら、マリアちゃん、来てごらん。こっちのバラは特に立派だよ。
バラが立派。
かぐわしい匂いだぜ。俺のエレガントさにぴったりだな。
エレガント。
おいよせよ。マリアが真似してトゲで怪我するだろ。
She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. Yeah, pretty much everything's exaggerated right now. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture, and George Aniki smiling broadly at us.
ほら、マリアちゃん、気をつけて。バラのトゲは痛いよ。
ジョージお兄ちゃん、このバラだけ変。変？どうしたんだよ。
Maria pointed at a single rose. I really understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish and others wilt. That was all there was to it, but Maria seemed very concerned about the only unhealthy one in the group. Must have made her feel lonely.
このバラだけ元気がなくて、かわいそう。
他はみんな元気なのにこれだけかわいそう。まあ咲いたり枯れたりはそれぞれだからな。一足先にしおれる代わりにそのバラは他のどのバラよりも早く開花できたんだと思うぜ。
そうだよな。いっぱい咲いてその役目を終えてお休みに入ったってだけのことだと思うぜ。
I feel like this entire scene is trying to foreshadow with symbolism, but I'm not sure what it's pointing to.
そんなに気に病むことはねえさ。
It seemed that Maria's pure sensitive nature was making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her.
じゃあマリアちゃん、
Yeah, come on.
帰るまでの間、このバラをお世話してあげるといいよ。
Georgianiki straightened up and felt around in his pocket. He then took out a wrapper from the candy he had been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string and gently tied the rose to the rose as a sort of a marker.
なんだか可愛くなったね。
これがこのバラの目印だよ。後でお水とかをあげに来てごらん。バラさんもきっと喜ぶと思うよ。
お水とかあげにく。
せっかくだからこのバラさんに何か名前をつけてあげるといいよ。そうするとバラさんも喜ぶと思うし、マリアちゃんと心もきっと通い合うと思うよ。
名前。
Though she still wore her usual sullen face. Yeah, I guess I would call that sullen. Crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have completely pulled out of her stumps. Her stump. Nice going, Aniki.
ジョージ兄さんって昔っから包容力があるよな。尊敬するぜ。
だな、人徳ってやつだろ。後で爪の赤をもらってきてやるから一緒に飲もうぜ。
この庭園はお前が子供の頃にもこんなに立派だったんか？
私が出てってからよ、こんなに立派になったのは。前の庭園の方が素朴で愛着があったんだけどね。兄さんがちょっと悪趣味にいじりすぎたのよ。前の方がずっと良かったんだから。
エヴァ、ポジティブシンキングやで。昔は置いといて今のこの美しさをめでなあかん。その方が心が安らかになるで。
別にそんな意味じゃ。ただ私は昔の方が素敵だった庭園をあなたにも見てほしかったなってだけよ。
それでは皆様よろしいでしょうか。そろそろお部屋の方にご案内いたします。
Yoda-san called to everyone to ask if we were ready, but our hearts had been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year, so we didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. That's a surprise. I figured everything would be like this with the main family, you know? Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had to let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Goto-san continued to wait, smiling widely, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms.
Well? おーい、カノン君やないか。久しぶりやな。元気か？
Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. Suddenly. That's a boy? In the direction he was waving was the slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Gota probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took his hat off, and bowed his head.
Konnichiwa.
I figured he was probably a lot younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goto-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us.
バトラ様、ご紹介いたします。後宮本家にお仕えしております使用人の一人です。カノンさん、お客様にご挨拶を。
Kanon, okay.
はじめまして、使用人のカノンです。
Voiced by a woman, so I don't know if this is a trap or not. Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goto-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Goto-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon only cast his eyes downward.
カノンさん、もう少し何か挨拶することはできませんか？
I don't know why he's like this.
いえ、僕たちは ハグですから。
Damn. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting.
カノン君は寡黙でさ、余計なおしゃべりはしない性分なんだよ。愛想は少し悪いけど、根はいい人なんだぜ。誤解しないで。ここに勤めて3年になるんだっけ。確か郷田さんより1年長いんだよな、カノン君。
Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot.
そっか。よろしくな。俺はバトラ。
Battler's a nice guy.
18だけど、君はいくつだい？
He fell silent, as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead.
確か私たちの2つ下だから16だったよな。
はい。そうです。
Honestly, this kid's attitude doesn't seem like that of a servant. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I need to double check to see if the butler has the family insignia on it. Because this guy has that. It looked like he'd prefer not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. I see. 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have.
近いとして嬉しいぜ。気さくにバトラって呼んでくれよな。俺も君のことはカノンって呼ぶぜ。
ありがとうございます。お気持ちだけで結構です。バトラ様。
The sentiment alone is enough. Interesting. Ganon. And... Okay. I don't remember who the other guy is. Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Canon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. As his elder, even by just 2 years. I took it upon myself to be understanding of that.
カノンさん、もう少し愛想よくはできませんか。笑顔も使用人の義務ですよ。
申し訳ありません。努力します。
郷田さん、カノン君もいろいろ頑張ってるんですよ。ねえ。
Goda-san, that's it, okay. Alright. It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable. Apparently he had improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile, but let out a small sigh of resignation escape.
それではまだ仕事がありますので、失礼します。
It looked like Conan himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Wheelbarrow. Just then the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on the pebble and lost its balance.
何をしてるんですか。ささ、早く片付けて。
Something's up with this kid. I don't trust him. I don't even think he's a butler. Goda-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of the guests. Kanan wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say, he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting some sacks of fertilizer. Yeah, those could be pretty heavy.
大丈夫かよ。そそっかしいな。ほら。
お嬢様、お召し物が汚れます。ここはお任せください。
She seems to like him, though. With a smooth motion, Goda took up the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Kanon-kun was having trouble with sacks of fertilizer.
お召し物が汚れる？
安心しろよ。 俺が着てるの
Really?
はそんなお上品なものじゃねえ
It
ぜ。
looks expensive.
それによ、俺はレストランで落ちたフォークをウェイトレスに拾わせるってやつが大嫌いなんだ。
I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course, they weren't light, but for me, it was a piece of cake. Kanon-kun looked at me, surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest.
バトラー様、結構です。僕が全てやりますので。
気にすんな。こう見えても鍛え方が違うぜ。
Since Kanon-kun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him.
結構重いね。カノン君が苦労するのも無理はないよ。カノン君、気にしないで。
これぞ俺の見せ場さ。これでさっきの船の分はチャラだよな。
この程度のことじゃさっきの大騒ぎが帳消しになるもんかよ。カノン君にも後で教えてやるよ。バトラったら面白いんだぜ。落ちる落ちる。
As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow.
お見苦しいところをお見せして申し訳ございませんでした。
さあさあもう結構ですよ。行ってください。Letting the guests who were supposed to feel welcome see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Kanon-kun left. Bye.
ゴーダさんもいじめすぎよ。
So, I don't know why, but he's like the most suspicious person so far besides the mom. I don't know, something about her face. Like, she looks like she's concealing insanity, or she's totally tired. One of those two.
意地悪言わないで、あなたも手伝えばよかったんじゃない？
これは至りませんで。Yeah, so on this servant, I don't see the family insignia. That's strange. 誠に申し訳ございませんでした。Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly.
カノン君もええところはぎょうさんあるんやで。ただ、若いんかの。いろいろと損をしとる。もったいないわ。
気難しい年頃さ。
Everybody's being surprisingly understanding
そっ
too.
としといてやれよ。使用人は寡黙なくらいがちょうどいいさ。あ、熊沢さん。
I have to say, like, these people, they seem super suspicious, but everything's just like goofy and everybody's pretty nice. And like, it's like everything is in jest. I don't know. It's strange.
ルドルフ様は手厳しゅうございますこと。私ほど使用人で寡黙な者はおりませんとも。
That's not true. Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa Bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile.
そろそろ荷物を置きたいわね。ゴダさん、部屋割りはどうなってるのかしら。
昨年と同じになっております。さあ、ご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Okay. Conan watched over a hedge as the guests all entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer, piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up sacks in front of him. The sacks Conan could not lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Conan. But as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. Those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't even reach his own ears. Conan hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip.
バラの庭園は記憶にあったんだけどよ。
Okay. I think this is a good place to save. They just got to the house. I'm Shonen C, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.